Oh, lovely, 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 lovely. Uh, Good to have you guys. Good to have you guys. And I'm sure all of you are keeping well and looking forward to this session. And I would also try and do a good job here, right? Now, before I begin, I really need some input from you guys here. Okay. नमस्कार संजय बेटे, नमस्कार सभी लोगों को बहुत बहुत नमस्कार. You know, and we will get to know each other a lot, right? We will get to know each other a lot. Uh, because we are planning to give you guys a very exhaustive treatment of the entire gamut of Indian history here, right? I have in mind around 160 plus hours of for you, and this will be extremely interesting. Of course, I would try and Jai Hind, Shiv, Jai Hind. I like the way you guys are, जो salutations है तुम लोग के काफी interesting हैं. So moving ahead, I'm sure a lot of you have joined me from across India here, right? I am from Delhi, Uttar Pradesh side. So I have a knack of breaking at times in my mother tongue, Hindi. So if I do that, I would encourage you to immediately point it out and ask me to translate it, right? Because I do teach bilingual batches as well. So at times, some spillover is natural. Kindly, apologies in advance here, and ask me to stop, and I would do it, and I would translate it again. All right. Uh, Now, I need a small bit of favor from you guys. What is that? Uh, I want to know what precisely is in your mind regarding the objective of this webinar. What do you expect? Okay, you want. Okay, I have not been told anything about it, whether I should be taking it in Hindi. So I'm assuming that I'm supposed to be taking it in English, right? Dharam, so I really, I hope you get my point here. I would not be able to take it to an absolute Hindi way. I wouldn't be. I would try and mix and match, right? And I'm sure you would be able to understand it, Dharam, right? Uh, oh, I think yeah, probably you will see same energy multiplied a few times, definitely. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, language is changed to Hindi. You guys, okay? But let me just double check it with somebody. Shall I do that? Right. I think I would just take an official go ahead here, and then we can start in Hindi as well, or make it a bilingual one. I don't mind. Just give me a minute, please. Okay, guys, I just got a clarification from Prabhat sir. So what he has said is that this is an all India webinar, right? So students from across India have joined us here. So if I break entirely into Hindi, it will be extremely useless for them, isn't it? So I would mix and match, right? I would mix and match, and I would try and ensure that your understanding is developed here, right? Right. Coming back to what I was discussing, मैं जो तुमसे कह रहा था बच्चे, वो ये कह रहा था कि what is your expectation for next whatever time that we spend here in the first session? What do you expect? And I would also request one thing here, please message for everyone, right? Your chat should be visible to everyone so that everybody can read what are you asking, and I can respond accordingly. Okay. So Anuja is saying that we can keep it prelims perspective knowledge, right? Uh, okay. Anything else? Anything other than this that you would like to, talk about? Okay. Are you guys absolutely clear about what is the syllabus here? Or would you like me to talk about that? Yeah. I think this is precisely what I also had in mind, that this is what will make the entire thing very, very useful for all of us here. If we can have a look at prelims plus mains syllabus and understand how I look at it, and tell you what will be my modus operandi going ahead. And then you can probably be in a better position to judge whether you want to join this program or not, right? So keeping that in mind, let's go ahead, right? Let's go ahead here. Okay, so we are going to be talking about the preparation, etc. here. Anu, history is like story of past events. I completely agree with that. So Hindi may be preferable for you because you're coming from Hindi belt, right? But there are other people as well. And as IS officers, as future UPSC aspirants, you really, really somewhere, I believe, need to go beyond your mother tongue as well. A Tamilian should put in that extra effort to understand some, basics of English and Hindi. Similarly, a Hindi belt guy should understand basics of Kannada, Tamil as well. And only then you can thrive, because you can be given any cadre. I'm sure you know this, right? You can be given any damn cadre across India. ठीक है बच्चा, तो please. And remember one thing, if you decide to join this entire batch, then there will be separate Hindi and English batches, right? Mukul, I don't know, man. I really don't know. I really don't know how many marks are required to clear, and I doubt you will ever get any categorical clear-cut answer here. It will depend upon a lot on that year's paper, the different reservation categories, etc., etc. If you want to talk about it, I would suggest that why don't you just contact me over my phone number or something, right? We can discuss it, no problem. Yeah, I intend to do that. I intend to do that. Yeah, but I completely agree with what Mayank here is saying. Language really doesn't matter. What matters is the understanding of the topic. If you can understand the topic and you're confident about it, then the rest is just a medium of expression. तो मेरी कोशिश बच्चे ये रहेगी कि मैं तुम्हारी समझ बता दूं, समझ को बनाऊं. राइट, मैं तुम्हारी समझ को डेवलप करने की कोशिश करूंगा. हालांकि मेरी भी समझ कोई बहुत ज्यादा डेवलप्ड नहीं है, मैं ये नहीं क्लेम कर रहा हूं कि मैं बहुत बड़ा यहाँ पे ज्ञानी बैठ गया हूं, लेकिन हाँ, some bit, I could actually give you some idea there, right? So guys, if you can avoid writing on the slides, I would love you even more. Trust me, I would love you even more, right? आइए, चलिए बात को शुरू कर रहा हूं मैं यहां पर आपके सामने. We are going to start ahead and see what does precisely UPSC tells us, right? So paper 1, right? This is the syllabus discussion that I want to have with you guys here. Paper 1, right? 200 marks, duration 2 hours. And here, if you notice, they have written certain subtopics, right? Current events of national and international importance. And this right here is what they give us in terms of information: history of India and Indian national movement. I mean, this is useless information, I'm sure you would agree, because the canvas is so broad here. The canvas is really, really broad here. Entire history of India and Indian national movement. The key point here is that they do not typically ask you about world history, modern world history. They do not typically ask you in prelims. Why do I use the word typically? Because if some historical event is in the news these days, then they can definitely ask you that in prelims as well. For example, think about it. 1945 was the year when United Nations was, created, and the World War ended. So it has been in news. So they can very well ask you a prelims question from there as well. You get my point here? We actually have a very daunting task right in front of us. हिस्ट्री से लोग बच्चे डरते हैं, उन्हें लगता है कि यार देयर इज गोइंग टू बी सो मच ऑफ डेटा हियर, so much of information here. Of course that is there, but beyond all that, there's actually a spinal cord, a framework which you can understand. And if you do that, you can crack most of the prelims questions and mains questions. Either you would be knowing the answers directly, or you would be able to eliminate options intelligently. It's very, very important here, man. दीपिका, दिस इज ये बेटा क्लास जो है ये पूरे ऑल इंडिया वेबिनार है. इसमें कोई हम लोगों ने डिस्टिंक्शन नहीं क्रिएट किया है कि इंग्लिश वाले ही आएंगे या हिंदी वाले ही आएंगे. सब लोग आ सकते हैं, बात कर सकते हैं, बैठ के डिस्कस कर सकते हैं एंड शेयर आवर थॉट्स, राइट? Yeah, Mayank, I agree. Acha, let's move ahead. That was a prelims primarily, right? If you look at the prelims syllabus, it doesn't give us a lot of information here, which we can actually analyze and break up, right? So let's proceed ahead and see the mains section. Now listen to my entire argument carefully, guys. Right? 2025 marks are at stake here. Overall, in your mains examination, 2025 marks. This is the entire barometer out of which you will be adjudged. The essay, 250 number ka paper. The topics, a lot of them, you are supposed to be writing 2 topics, right? 2 essays here, isn't it? And the topics will always have a historical sense. You're supposed to give them the entire history and then develop your argument. You cannot write a beautiful essay unless you have an historical understanding of the topic about which you're writing. Then you're bullshitting. Right, isn't it? What happened here? Am I visible, audible? Am I? To everyone? I hope so, right? So, जैसा मैं आप लोग को बता रहा था बच्चा कि the essay. So whatever we study here, a lot of the times, people ask me that why do you want to devote so much of time in studying history? This is the reason. If you look at the last year's papers, guys, please, I would request you to go and look at last year's papers. You would notice that you would not be able to write any of those essays, answers, unless you understand how did it all begin. So this is one paper where you will be, whatever we study, whatever we discuss here, you will find it relevant there in this essay paper. Then comes your paper 2. Right? This is your general studies 1, we call it, right? Again, 250 marks. This is where directly questions from Indian heritage and culture, history and geography of world and society is asked. Ab socho bachcha log, think about it. Can you ever attempt a question which is based on society without knowing history? It's hilarious to even talk about it. Wouldn't you agree? If I ask you to comment about the gender relations which are evolving in the current day India, can you write about it unless you understand that what is the contribution of people such as Periyar, Jyotiba Phule? You can write. I'm not saying that you cannot. Probably you will get decent marks as well. But if you can link all that to what you have studied in history, your essay, your answers, all that becomes very, very methodical and wonderful. So please stop looking at it from a very, very narrow spectrum ki history ke direct questions kya rahe. If you look at it that way, then probably it will be very easy for me to quantify ki 125 number ki history aayi thi. But then I'm forgetting a lot of things that history is supposed to, it's expected to teach you. And from the bottom of my heart, I can tell you one thing. I will make an honest effort to teach you that. जितना मुझे आता है, जितना मैं थोड़ा बहुत समझ पाया हूं, I will try and give you that understanding. Good or bad, it's up to you to decide. Right? Okay, moving ahead, paper 3, again, if you see, this is where, governance, constitution, polity, social justice, international relations, all are topics which have a historical background. For example, in constitution, polity, you're expected to know about regulating act of 73. Or for example, if you're commenting about judiciary, you need to probably keep in mind that the first Supreme Court came out in 1773 itself by the regulating act. I hope you somewhere follow what I'm trying to tell you. Again, another very, very, important point probably that I should tell you here. If you look at the recent trends of UPSC papers, the general studies papers and all, right? If you look at it, you will notice something probably, uh, that the importance of events that are taking place after the independence is growing. Previously, we used to teach it in a manner that, 15th August 1947, India is created, and then pretty much history is over. And we would just wrap it up very quickly, and talk about maybe Kashmir or Junagadh and, a couple of other things as well. But if you look at the current papers, guys, dudes and dudettes, if you look at these papers, what we see, recently, you will find out that throughout paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, unless you have a fair idea of post-independence history, you are losing on a opportunities. Right? Right? For example, if you want to talk about, let's say, inequality and poverty in India, and if you can recall that after independence, right, we came up with the community development program. We came up with the first 5-year plan, the second 5-year plan. If you can keep in mind how India, in fact, how Britishers captured Burma. Do you know this, that Myanmar or Burma, as Burma is called Myanmar these days, isn't it? So Myanmar was actually a part of India as a result of 3 Anglo-Burmese war. It is in 1935 when Burma was separated and it became a different colony. Now, Myanmar is in news. So if you know this, you have an edge over others. You have an edge over others. Again, देखो एक बात और ध्यान रखो बेटा. Simply knowing superficial things wouldn't help. Unless you can, get out of this entire idea कि यार silos में नहीं रहना है हमें. You have to attempt every question as an integrated personality. You will have to forget that this question is only about, let's say, environment or ecology. No, it has certain other connections which you need to highlight somewhere. Ecology and environment, you need to know about Chipko Andolan. A lot of these post-independence topics you are expected to cover in separate streams. I'm sure you would agree. For example, you're supposed to be covering 5-year plans in economy. You're expected to know about foreign relations in your international relations. I mean, how we evolved, what was our relationship with China, the Tibet issue, Nepal issue, Treaty of Sugauli, and etc., etc. You're expected to know all that from that front. But my point is, bache, history is the only place where you can see how it all connects. That's all. History is the only place where you can see how it all connects in one beautiful story. So I really do not mind even if you end up spending a lot more hours here. I really do not. But I promise that once you walk out of this course here, it will be tough. It will be tough. I will be expecting you to make running notes, and I speak fast. You see that. I will use presentations. I will give you graphs. I will give you maps. I will use images. But ध्यान रखो बेटा, it's up to you. You will have to make running notes. I will give you all these presentations as well. You can. Right? Okay. Let's have a look at main examination here a bit more, because I want to discuss the syllabus too. I want to talk about some, aspects of the syllabus that you need to know here, right? These are general instructions which UPSC gives to the candidates. They are very, very important for us. Some of them are very important. This is why I've actually copied and pasted them from the notification itself. देखो जरा ध्यान से पढ़ते हैं. देखो, this main examination is intended to assess the overall intellectual traits and depth of understanding of candidates. Depth of understanding of candidate. How do you understand things? How do they operate in relation of one to another? How is inequality related to poverty? And again, बच्चे, मैं फिर वही बात बोल रहा हूं, history is the only place where you can spend time in trying to understand these linkages. Nowhere else. So please look at history from a very, very broad horizon. अभी तो मैंने तुमसे सबसे प्यारी बात बताई नहीं तुम्हें. Look at the ethics paper. Look at the ethics paper. Right? This year's main examination ethics paper, it talks about Savitribai Phule. It talks about Vivekananda. It talks about Socrates. Historical personalities. In ethics, you're supposed to be knowing about all these wonderful personalities. Now, sadly, we are not aware about them. I'm sure you would agree. And even if you are aware about a lot of them, we need to widen our circle here. We need to find out the sort of personalities that appeal to us. Because remember, in your ethics paper, you're supposed to represent your true self. You're supposed to come out with the guys who really, really, whom you admire. And you want to be like them. So वहां पे बेटा फर्जी बोलने से काम नहीं, लिखने से काम नहीं चलेगा. You need to know your shit. And again, history will give you that opportunity where I will be discussing dozens and dozens of wonderful personalities, and we will discuss, again, this is also very beautiful here in history, we will discuss their positives as well as their negatives. हमें भक्त नहीं बनना है. We are here as objective civil services aspirant. And this is precisely what we will become. Right? Moving on. So it will not simply be checking you on merely the range of information or memory. याददाश्त नहीं चेक कर रहा है तुम्हारी बे. Hello. I'm so sorry, man. Am I audible again? I am really, really sorry. Am I audible again? Visible again? Is my screen visible? Yeah. Guys, can you confirm me? Anyone? Am I visible, audible? Okay. All right. I'm so sorry, guys. चलो ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है. We will begin again. शुरू करते हैं. Right. Uh, I'm so sorry, man. That was my, the 4-year-old son. He switched off the internet. My apologies. My apologies. Right. So coming back to what we were discussing, intended to assess the depth of understanding. Right. And I also made that point, if you recall, that this is the only platform. This is the only platform where you will get to know about so many fascinating personalities objectively, which will be useful in your paper 4, in your ethics paper, I mean to say. Right. Again, let's carry on reading some of these more instructions here. The nature and standard of questions will be such that a well-educated person will be able to answer them without any specialized study. Right. General awareness. और देखो आगे क्या बोल रहे हैं. The questions are likely to test the candidate's basic understanding of all relevant issues and ability to analyze and take a view on conflicting socio-economic goals. Socially, you want to create a more egalitarian society, but you also have economic goals. So you're supposed to be taking your viewpoints. You're supposed to be taking a view on those goals. It is broadly the level, the syllabus is broadly of the honors degree level. Honors degree level, that is a level higher than the bachelor's degree, but lower than the master's degree. आगे देखिए और क्या क्या instructions. All of them are very beautiful and useful for us actually. If a candidate's handwriting is not easily legible, a deduction will be made on this account. So your writing really needs to be improved. That is one thing which you need to start practicing from yesterday, actually. So you can understand how important it is. It's very important that you write. You look at last year's questions and attempt them. Once we are done with the topic, attempt some questions. See if what you are studying, if what you are understanding is it of the same level what UPSC is giving you the questions of? You do not want to be too less prepared, neither too much prepared. Right? So as a teacher, this also will be my responsibility, that I guarantee you somewhere that whatever we discuss in the class will be sufficient. And it will be. Whatever we discuss together in these classes here, it will be sufficient for you. It will give you a competitive edge over others. Very important. Marks will not be allotted for mere superficial knowledge. Very important for us to understand this. फालतू में जो है ना 4 थ्योरी पढ़ करके लिख मत आना बेटे. They don't like such people. Keep it simple, baby. Very simple. Right? Credit will be given for orderly, effective, and exact expression. लिखना शुरू कर दो बच्चा लोग. If you're really serious, I will tell you about my own self. I haven't talked about myself here. My name, as you can see here, right? Anant Tripathi, right? And क्या बताऊं तुम्हें अपने बारे में मैं कहां से शुरू करूं? Okay, I'll just keep it again simple, right? I have been associated with the civil services arena since 2009, right? And I gave 4 attempts at civil services. The 2 optionals which I had were public administration and sociology. I managed to crack prelims every time, but I was not able to crack mains ever, right? Because I'm not very good at writing, and I never even tried to write properly. This is why right from day one, I would ask you to please work on your writing. This is not an exam of knowledge, information, memory. No, it is an exam of orderly, effective, and exact expression. Due economy of words. कम शब्दों में अपनी बात कहने की आदत डालिए. Start writing answers immediately. A lot of my kids, a lot of my students, they send me answers. I rate them. Again, I'm not an expert here in answer writing, so I will not claim that I'm very good at it or anything. No. You have seen it, right? I mean, UPSC kicked me out of the mains for 4 times. Right? Because they saw that this guy has absolutely no merit when it comes to writing answers. Don't repeat that mistake, guys, please. Right? Start writing. Okay? And once you have, let's say, written down an answer, this is also something which you can do. I'm sure you guys are seeing all these ads about Grammarly. Right, right. We are getting all these ads about Grammarly. It's a free service. I'm so sorry. I don't intend to, give an ad or anything about these guys. Not at all. That's not my woe. But the thing is, it's a very useful platform for all of us. We can write a simple paragraph answer and paste it there and see what sort of grammatical mistakes are we making. Because I'm sure you guys do not know this, but you're making a hell lot of grammatical mistakes. और कब काम करोगे उस पे? And writing is not something which will come overnight. Right? So start doing these little things, please, for God's sake. It depends, guys. 150 words, 250 words. Typically, this is what they keep as the limits. And they're very strict about it. They're very strict about it. If you start going way beyond 250 words in a lot many answers, they will start simply striking out extra words. They will strike out extra words. They will not even read it. रिमेंबर, उनके पास बच्चे जो है ना, कमी नहीं है एस्पिरेंट्स की, बट हमारे पास कमी है जहां पर जाकर के ऐसी पोजीशन लेकर के जहां पे हमें अपने मन माफिक काम करने का मौका मिले. वी दैट जॉब, वी वांट दैट पोजीशन. So it's for us to shine, not for them to notice. Through your examples, through your analogies, by simple understanding, you have to smile and shine on your paper. Tell them that you're an educated person who understands how government operates, who sees how all that has evolved. Start visiting some offices, government offices, I mean to say. Not without work, that will be extremely boring and stupid. But yeah, if you have certain work which you have been, procrastinating because you want to avoid government offices, I mean, I do. So yeah, you can go ahead and see. Because what I've realized is, if you can understand how the way government operates, you can get a sense of it. It gets very useful in your ethics paper. You can make your answer really real life. A person who understands how the passport is renewed, verified, how the FIR is lodged. If you've done all that, if you've seen all that, if you have a first-hand experience, beautiful. But please do not. Hey, Rashi, how are you? Yeah, you will get, I don't know, but I think you guys can get the recording of the session. Shouldn't be a problem. Not too sure, though. Please, but ask somebody from the administration. I'm sure they would be able to figure out a way. Right? Okay. Okay, let's have a look at the syllabus of history. Finally, right? So general studies, paper 1, right? This is going to talk about, this paper talks about Indian heritage and culture. What is heritage and culture? What is heritage and culture? Yeah. Pushpalata, Rashi, everyone, whoever wants a recording, I would advise you to just have a word with the administration and see what they tell you the process, right? चलो आगे बढ़ रहे हैं बात को आगे लेके, ठीक है? सुनो ध्यान से मेरी बातें. हाँ, अगर कोई क्वेश्चन है, you are most welcome to ask, right? So heritage and culture, right? They are very broad words. They're very broad words, right? And UPSC wants us to study that. It wants to study history. It wants us to study history, geography of the world, and society. So this entire portion is what I am going to aim at, right? अब देखो उनका ब्रेकअप देखते हैं, right? Let's have a look at the breakup, how they are giving you my knees are visible. Are they making you uncomfortable, Aditya, in any which way? Thanks for the feedback, man. कम नहीं हो तुम भी है. चलो, nice. Sorry for the distraction. थैंक्स मैन. चलो आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, ठीक है? तो जैसा मैं तुम्हें कह रहा था कि लेट्स हैव अ लुक एट the way they are going to be further detailing the syllabus. ये तो एक लाइन है. अब इसको देखो और कैसे ये लोग elaborate कर रहे हैं. Indian culture will cover the salient aspects of art forms, literature, and architecture from ancient to modern times. So within this entire Indian heritage and culture, they are saying that you're supposed to be covering the important aspects of art forms such as painting, music, our literature, how that has evolved, our architecture. They're coming up with a new parliament, Vista, right? So architecture will be very important for us. So how has the architecture evolved from ancient to modern times? Right? These are some of the hints that they are giving us. And again, you see, they're covering the entire gamut, art forms, ancient to modern times. Right? These are very, very generic terms. Okay, so as I was telling you, अच्छा तो एक इन्होंने ये बोली बात, फिर क्या कह रहे हैं देखो, the next point says modern Indian history from about the middle of the 18th century, that means from about 1750 till the present, significant events, personalities, issues. That means after 1750 we need to know a lot of these details as well. Before 1750 we need to focus. That means when we are talking about ancient and medieval history. अब again देखो समझो, तुम लोग यहाँ पे मुझसे पूछ सकते हो, you guys can ask me कि sir, what is ancient, what is modern, what is medieval? You have not told anything, and I would completely agree with your argument there, right? But for the time being, let's go on with the traditional definition and carry on discussing. I promise I will be discussing about these terms as well, because these terms are not very specifically agreed by everyone. No, people contest, this should be the deadline, that should be the deadline, etc., etc. Yeah. Guys, please, if you're asking a question or anything, please do not send me a direct message. I want everybody to read it so that I can look at it and respond accordingly, right? Swati has asked a very interesting question, pertinent question. Swati, if you can copy and paste it for everybody to read, that will be great. Swati, Pushpalata is asking a very interesting question too. When we talk about the ancient, then which part of South Indian history should be taken? We're primarily focusing more on Sangam age then. Sangam age, Sangam literature. In fact, yeah, we should be talking about the Neolithic and those areas as well. But yeah, focus primary जो रहता है वो Sangam पे रहता है. The way I divide it. Again, teachers to teachers will depend, right? It will depend. Okay. Then we're supposed to be focusing on the freedom struggle, right? The freedom struggle, how does that begin? And okay, yeah, Pushpalata, I think fair point. I should give you that division right away. Can you guys just hold on to that thought? And first, let's discuss this. Or we can, okay, I can talk about that as well, no problem. We are also expected to know the freedom struggle, its various stages, important contributors, contributions, etc., from different parts of the country. Very important. A lot of us do that mistake, especially people from Hindi belt. We tend to see the entire struggle from our perspective. And that's very stupid. You need to have a pan-India understanding, beta. You need to be aware about what is going on in NCM, not only just in the, the Hindi belt region. Go beyond as well. And unless you can showcase through your examples, through your analogies, that yes, you know what was going on in entire India, you have a snapshot ready for what was going on in entire India, that will indicate to UPSC one thing, that this guy is not having a lot of regional prejudice. And that is bound to give you extra marks. Ain't it? Yeah. So ध्यान रखो बच्चे, बहुत सिंपल चीजें करनी है, राइट? बहुत सिंपल चीजें करनी है और उनको अच्छे से करना है, मेहनत से करना है. And it will be absolutely a killer combination if you can keep it simple. Right? अच्छा, और देखो, पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस कंसोलिडेशन मतलब 1947 के बाद क्या होता है? That is also something which is very important, very important. And now, as I was telling you, देखो, समझो, I have one very simple, option. I can simply follow consolidation and reorganization within the country. I can tell you about two things, because if you look at it, the syllabus just uses two words. I can tell you about the consolidation, how the princely states were consolidated. देखो, ऐसे समझो, when India got independence, a lot of it was British India, which was controlled by Britishers. But a lot of other region of the subcontinent was actually under the control of princely states. They had their own laws, rules. Of course, they were under British paramountcy, right? But still, they were in internal matters, they were pretty much free to do whatever they want. So after independence, they were integrated within the Indian Union. Kisne kiya tha, batao? Who's the person who did that task? Who's credited with that task? Anyone? Very good, Aditya. Shabash. Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Very good. Along with VP Menon. Along with VP Menon. उनका नाम नहीं भूलेंगे हम लोग. वही तुम्हें एक्स्ट्रा नंबर दिलवाएगा. समझे? VP Menon तुम्हारे जो थे सेक्रेटरी थे. He was very important. From Kerala. He was the guy who rose from a clerk. And he headed the entire, क्या कहते हैं, negotiations, etc. Yeah, very good, Aditya. I'm sure you guys, I'm glad some of you have heard about him. Very wonderful personality, very wonderful personality. I'm actually reading a book on him. तो मैं थोड़ा ज़्यादा emotional हो गया. But yeah, I can very briefly, what I can do is, देखो, I can talk about this consolidation phase. And I can talk about the reorganization. What do I mean by reorganization? I mean how the states were created. How does Andhra Pradesh, Punjab, all these states appear? Initially, linguistic, language-based organization was not a very comfortable thought after partition. But then people started protesting and language-based reorganization took place. So I can easily talk about these two things and end the course here. When it comes to post-independence, but I will not. I will take you forward. I will be discussing all the important events till 2000, if possible for me. Right? We will be discussing all the international treaties, economic policy, and whatever catches my fancy. Depending upon whatever is important going on, I will discuss it with you. Answer writing is something which you will have to take care of. Okay, let's have a look at Swati's question. Let's have a look at Swati's question. You remember we were talking about how you need to indicate that you understand the linkages somewhere. History is the only place where you can try and do that, right? So she's saying, how can we frame our answers? Frankly, I don't know. Swati, I will not claim that I have a very specific answer to this, but I can help you somewhere, maybe. How? If you can send me, mail me some answers over, I can read them and answer, give you proper feedback that how you are doing it, how you can improve it, etc., etc. That is something which I think, because I've looked at a lot of answers, I can do. But I cannot tell you one way in which you can probably frame your answers. You get my point? I will share my email ID. Don't worry. I'll share it when we end the class, right? Okay. अच्छा देखो, ये भी पढ़ो जरा, देखो भाई, ये भी जरूरी है मेंस में. They will also ask you about modern world history. This year, although in the mains examination, they did not ask you a single question. They did not ask you a single question on world history. But again, this year in prelims, they asked you 26 questions on history. So I think you shouldn't try and, predict UPSC in this manner. कि, इस साल इन्होंने इस पे कम दिया है, उस पे ज्यादा देंगे. That is stupid, right? We will try and develop an holistic understanding. We will not go with this kind of an attitude कि medieval में marks कम आते हैं, direct questions कम आते हैं, तो उस पे कम focus करेंगे. No. How stupid of us will be that? You get my point. Unless you understand medieval India, you will never understand modern India. है बात सही कि नहीं? Ancient India is less important than medieval India. And modern India is more important than medieval India. It's as simple as that. So medieval को ignore नहीं करना है. A lot of people say that because they feel that BJP is a Muslim party. So they will probably not focus too much on medieval period. They will not ask you direct questions there. But that's a very stupid mindset. Because this entire categorization, that ancient period was Hindu period, and medieval period was Muslim period, and modern period is British period, is stupid. It's dumb. It was given by a person who was called as James Mill. He's the one who came up with this concept for the first time, this categorization for the first time. A lot of people agreed to it for a long time. But then this model has been discarded. Because in ancient time, not every ruler was Hindu. They were Buddhist, they were Jains. In medieval time, not every ruler was a Muslim. There were Rajputs, the Sikh, the Marathas, the Vijayanagar, the Bahmanis. The Bahmanis were Muslims, but you get the point. Right? So such religion-based stupidity is not required. We will look at the entire story. बीच के चैप्टर अगर मिस कर देंगे तो नहीं समझ में आएगा ना आगे क्या हुआ है. Okay. And we will also be looking at history of the world. History of the world, right? We will be looking at such great events which have somewhere defined the modern times. We will look at industrial revolution, how it began in England. We will talk about the two world wars. We will talk about how nationalism emerged as a result of industrial revolution. Nationalism in modern day sense was not present before. Nationalism is a modern day phenomenon. This idea based on nation state, it's a modern day phenomena, a result of industrial revolution. So we will look at it. We will study what is imperialism, communism, colonialism, capitalism, so many isms that we will study, etc. लगा देख रहे हो कितना खतरनाक etc. You will be required to study about the American Revolution, the French Revolution. Very true, Aditya. Very true. So true, man. Everyone should make their own perspective regarding history. And why regarding history? Everyone should have their own perspective regarding everything. You know, your statement reminds me of somebody, right? Reminds me of a person who is known as Francis Bacon. He is known as father of scientific thought. Father of scientific method, I'm so sorry. Father of scientific method, he is called as Bacon. And he said, listen to this statement, beta, maza aa jayega tumko sun ke Aditya. Everyone, I'm sure you would love this statement. He said, read or listen, whatever, right? Read, not to agree or disagree, but to weigh and consider. ध्यान रखो बच्चे, आप आजाद हैं. आपको अपने पर्सपेक्टिव, you are supposed to be coming out as a unique person on your paper. Every, मैं भी जो बोलूंगा, although I somewhere believe, there's a person who is known as E.H. Carr. He is known as father of history somewhere, right? According to him, right? When you're about to learn history, you should know who is the teacher. It's very important. So that you can be aware about the biases which may be present in me. Every one of us have bias, isn't it? All of us have bias, prejudices. किसी को मुसलमान से घृणा आती है, किसी को हिंदू से घृणा आती है, किसी को साला किसी और से घृणा आती है. Right? We have all kinds of prejudices. So you should know the person who's, because history is something which defines your entire wajud, your existence. तो मैं तुम्हें 200 घंटे कुछ बताने जा रहा हूं. 200 hours, man, 200 hours, you wouldn't have even heard your parents speak to you. But you're choosing to hear somebody. Don't you want to know what kind of a person he is? What are his or her prejudice? Right? So I have started believing that I need to, yeah, very good, Aditya. Very good. Very good, very good, very good. So with that in mind, I would share something about me as well, my personal life as well, so that maybe you can judge what kind of a person I am. Syllabus again? Yeah, sure. 1 second, beta. पेपर 1 का सिलेबस था बच्चा ये. ठीक है? This is the one you're talking about, GS paper 1. Yeah, this is the one, guys. ये GS 1 कहते हैं इसको, या पेपर 2 कह सकते हो, up to you. Fair? ये देखो, this is your entire aspect of Indian society. देखो देखो देखो, जरा गौर से देखो. This is all basically you need to know your history here. Right? देखो ना, Indian society, caste system you're supposed to be aware about. Role of women, women's organization, population, poverty, urbanization. History is the only platform where you will get to see that how many phases of urbanization we have gone through. Effect of globalization. We will also be studying communalism, कैसे पनपती है भारत में ये. Regionalism, secularism, all these ideologies you will be taught here in history. This is, of course, geography. I'm not claiming that geography will also, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, this is definitely all history. Isn't it? You need to be aware about Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. You need to be aware about the cow protection riots. You need to be aware about all these, so many things we will be discussing, guys. Right? ये देखो, this is your paper 2, जिसमें polity, constitution, all those things appear. Right? All those things appear. इसमें भी देखो, Indian constitution, historical underpinnings. How does it evolve? You would be required to know, and again, I'm telling you, I will be covering a lot of these aspects here in our classes together. Right? Again, another point, India and its neighborhood relations. I would be talking about Indo-China relation, the historical relevance, of course, the war, 62 वाली war का जिक्र करेंगे हम post independence में. Right? So we will be studying that as well. Yeah, daunting, I should say. I mean, the first time you read this, it seems as if there's just no limit to it. But trust me, there is a way in which you can wade through all this and make some sense. देखो 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 ये देखो, effects of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interests. Indian diaspora. अब इंडियन डायस्पोरा कहां से बनना शुरू हुआ है, इंडेंचर्ड लेबर सिस्टम क्या होता है, right? All that will help your understanding. I would consider my classes really meaningful only if whatever we study here, you can relate it to your newspapers. अदरवाइज देखो बच्चे, वो हिस्ट्री जो तुम्हें अभी हेल्प नहीं कर रही है ना, वो यूजलेस है. और यूजलेस चीज करने का काम ना तुम्हारा है ना मेरा है. So we will look at those aspects which are useful right now, because this is the only reason why we study history. Because we want to make some sense of what is going on, and we want to make some sense of how things can go. And it is the most basic human instinct. This is the most basic human instinct. हम केवल खाना खा के चुपचाप नहीं बैठ सकते हैं बच्चा कि सो नहीं. We need to see, we need to find out why, what happened, what can happen. This is how, your cortex has developed. This is what, distinguishes us from other species. We try to make sense. History is the most potent weapon that we have at our service. Although, I must tell you, history is written by the victorious. हिस्ट्री केवल एक पर्सपेक्टिव है. It is written by the victorious. We are studying it in English again because of historical reasons, bachche. Because of the entire colonial thing, we are being forced to use a foreign language to communicate among us. This is why we are forced to, study in English and not one of our languages. Because in 1835, Macaulay started the entire Anglicist system, and British started promoting it because they needed clerks. And here we are, still using the same language. Syllabus is the same. This is your syllabus, right? Yeah, Aditya, I think you're correct. Ghosh, I am not able to get your question correctly. Can you repeat? What do you mean that the syllabus is same, or is it cut short? Paper 4, and this is again dekho, non-state actors, internal security. For example, I'm sure you would agree, Maoism, Naxalism, this is one of the major challenges that we face. Separatism in Northeast, another major security challenge that we face. अब इसको कहां समझोगे? We can do it. We can do it together. Right? We can do it together. Seriously, we can do it. Right? Yeah, very true, very true, very true, Aditya. True as well. This is your paper 5 or GS paper 4 कहते हैं इसको बच्चे. Please do not get confused with the nomenclature. You will figure it out as we go along. Ethics, integrity, and aptitude. Right? This is a very, very innovative paper that UPSC has introduced. Love this paper. I have been teaching it for the last 2 years, and somewhere I realized that this is one paper which is your make or break paper. ये 250 नंबर का पेपर जो होता है बच्चे, इसमें the variation is immense. Because the thing is, GS, right? GS 1, 2, 3. You really cannot, for example, if you spend a lot of time on history, somewhere your economics may go unattended. So your overall numbers may just balance out in paper 1 plus paper 1, 2 plus paper 3. But then comes your essay and ethics paper. They are game changer. And optional, of course. Game changer. तो इनका ध्यान रखना है खास तौर पे. इसमें देखो ना ये contributions of moral thinkers, philosophers from India and world. Right? These are guys which are supposed to be, ye dekho, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders, reformers, and administrators. Role of family, society, educational institutions. तो ये सब जब answers लिखोगे, so you will need a bouquet of examples, pan India examples, which you can use. You get the point. तो बहुत scientifically इन्होंने सब बनाया है पूरा syllabus, and it's very important that you look at the syllabus holistically, rather than geography, economics, history. नहीं, वो सोच गलत है. That's not the way to go ahead. The syllabus is compressed. I'm asking, is there any direction syllabus? It's same. As far as I know, it's same, right? But if you have some information on this, kindly do share. But I think, yeah, this is what we know till now. It is, बच्चे. अनु देखो, हमारी existence ही history से connected है ना बच्चा. अगर हम तुमसे पूछें, बताओ, सोचो, हम तुमसे कहें, टेल मी अबाउट द इकोलॉजिकल कंसर्न्स ऑफ इंडिया, right? So if you want to comment on it, you need to have an understanding that how we come here, how we have reached where we are right now. Only then your answers will seem to have enough gravity and depth which they are saying that you should have, isn't it? Okay, page number 14, you want me to show again? One second, bache. Ye raha. ये देखो, achievements of Indians in science and technology. I will be talking about Vikram Sarabhai, such wonderful and dashing person. We cannot just simply rub them away under the carpet because their major activities are coming after independence. You need to know them. उन्होंने IIM अहमदाबाद बनाया है यार, इसरो बनाया है. It's important that you know all these guys, man. They're very important. Remember, you have to be simple, aware. I know these are terms which are very easily used, abused. But I promise somewhere, beta, as we go along, as we proceed along, I'm sure there will be light at the end of the tunnel, right? शुरुआत में बहुत अजीब लगेगा, बहुत अजीब लगेगा. But I promise, if you persist, your entire idea about history will change, right? ये मत समझना मैं बोरिंग है, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि बहुत मजेदार, हर क्लास में बहुत मजा आएगा, नहीं. But yes, overall, when you understand the things, you will find it very, very wonderful. This is your ethics paper. Fair. That is all I had to share in terms of the syllabus, instructions. Okay, but yeah, one of you asked me that, can you tell us how you intend to break up and how you intend to go ahead with the classes? Yes, I should be talking about it. तो जरा एक बार वो भी सुनने की कोशिश करिए सब लोग मेरे साथ. I typically begin my classes with ancient India, right? Then I proceed to medieval India, right? Then I go ahead and move to modern. No, then I go ahead and take your world history. And finally, we move to modern history, your freedom movement, etc. And last will be your post independence. So somewhere this is the broad way in which we will, have the lessons. The flow of the lessons will be somewhere like this. Now, the next thing which you should ask me, please define these terms. Isn't it? Define these terms. So, dekho, abhi without getting into any detail or discussions here, what I will suggest is the way I use it. The way I use it, I'll tell you that, right? Somewhere from prehistoric times till 600 and 659, sorry, till 700 CE. This is your CE. समझते हो ना बच्चा? देखो, I'm sure you guys know this somewhere, right? There's something which is called as BC and AD. Do you understand this? Before Christ and ante domini, anno domini, something like these terms, right? External state. कहां पर लिखा था बच्चा? Can you tell me कहां पर लिखा था? जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन केस ऑफ इंडिया, पाकिस्तान, or let's say Nepal, right? They are trying to create challenges to our internal security. What is the role they are playing? You need to analyze that. Right? This is what they're referring to. Clear? Ghosh? So देखो, till 700 CE, we will take it as ancient India, roughly, right? From 700 to, let's say, 1700 CE, this will be my medieval India, right? And then we will, of course, be going ahead with world history. And in world history, of course, from right from, let's say, 1700 to your entire Cold War, Yugoslavia breakup, and disintegration of USSR. So that means we'll cover everything till like around 1990s or something. Creation of European Union, that is in news, right? The entire Brexit thing. So you need to know that. उसका पूरा हम लोग एक हिस्ट्री जान के रखेंगे अपने साथ में. Non-state actors. हाँ, बिल्कुल. For example, let's say Pakistan harboring some anti-Indian terrorist agencies. Non-state actors. Right? They are posing challenge to the internal security. So world history we will look at right from 1700 and go till as far as we can, and then we will have modern Indian history, which we will begin at 1700, and from there we will proceed all the way till 1947, and after 1947 we will bring up post-independence as a topic. आशीष, बिल्कुल हिंदी लैंग्वेज में भी बिल्कुल होता ही है, हर साल होता है, परसेंटेज बढ़ती भी जा रही है. आई एम अंडर द इंप्रेशन, आई एम नॉट सो श्योर, लेकिन हाँ बिल्कुल पॉसिबल है. प्रिपरेशन स्ट्रैटेजी में चेंज कैसा, मतलब अगर हिंदी लेते हो तो, हिंदी में अगर हिंदी मीडियम में लेते हो तो, यू मीन टू से, इज दैट व्हाट यू आर आस्किंग आशीष? एक सेकंड बच्चे, तो राशि अभी कर रहे हैं ना, इंग्लिश वर्सेस हिंदी मीडियम. यार मेरे पास ऐसा कुछ डिटेल होगा नहीं बच्चा, मतलब मैं तुम्हें क्या बताऊं, मैं एक अध्यापक हूं, सही में मुझे अपने काम के अलावा कुछ और आता नहीं है बेटा. सो आई रियली डोंट नो हाउ कैन आई हेल्प यू देयर. I'm sure there are other websites who have given you a lot of detailed analysis of that. The only thing which I can help you out here is give you an understanding. That is my forte. इसके अलावा मुझे वाकई में धनिया खरीदना भी नहीं आता है. तो बाकी तो मैं और क्या बोलूं तुम्हें. अच्छा हाँ, तो राशि में 1 मिनट में कर रहा हूँ ना बच्चा, बाकी 2 लोगों को और देख लूं. I might be wrong, but I was wondering that ethics and probity are something that come from within. It is a part of internal personality. This by going through books and reading. बच्चा कैसी बात करता है बेटा. What are you, Swati? सोचो ना यार, what are you internally? Your experiences, your perspectives about situations and things. And how do you develop your perspectives? By meeting new people, by exposing yourself to new situations, by getting to know about new people, reading books, traveling. I agree. There are other ways as well in which you can develop, ethics and probity. But books are also very, very important, and a decent way. Okay. Okay. Can I ask about to choose history as optional? Yeah, Bharti, history as optional is a pretty decent course, I would say. Yeah. People often say that it's very broad and etc. But if you look at last year's papers and all, I think they've kept the pattern pretty simple. And a lot of the questions are coming from static side. I mean, they have kept that distribution pretty much easy to configure. So yeah, you can look at it. You'll have to work on your mapping. Mapping will be critical. But Rashi, I do not have a website. I don't have any. I mean, you will find some random videos on YouTube. करियर लॉन्चर के लिए, स्टडी आईक्यू के लिए हैं, जहां पे मैंने डाल रखे हैं, बट वो उन लोगों ने डाले, तो वो किसी उसमें नहीं है, ऑर्डर में नहीं है, तो वो तो मुश्किल रहेगा बच्चा, राइट? No problem, Bharti. You, as you know, for optional, you do not need any background knowledge of any of the subjects, right? You can take it up as a complete fresher as well. But what you need to know is that you should have the inclination to put in your hard work there. You should find the subject matter slightly interesting, right? अच्छा, और हाँ, अब मैं राशि जो कह रही थी वो भी जरा कर दूं, एक सेकेंड, हैंग ऑन. राशि, you wanted me to do, अच्छा, और I have a couple of other points as well, probably, which I would like to make here. हाँ, ओके, ये रहा, देखो, पहले प्रिलिमिनरी का, ये पेपर 1 का है, ठीक है, प्रीलिम्स का. फिर ये तुम्हारे सारे all those papers जो मेंस में होते हैं, 2025 marks, including the interviews of 275 marks, right? So they are all your mains papers. These are instructions for main examination that I wanted to discuss with you people. This is GS1 or paper 2, whatever you want to call it, right? This is Indian heritage and culture, or society, ye pura portion, and of course geography as well. This is society and geography. Fine. Rashi, please bete direct message karo na. Can you see? Is it visible, Rashi? Oh, lovely. This was paper 3. This is where constitution, polity, international relations, social justice, ये सारी चीजें आ रही हैं आपके पास. बेटा ऐसा नहीं पॉसिबल है, राशि. आई विल हैव टू मूव ऑन, आई एम सो सॉरी. आगे बढ़ रहे हैं. यू विल गेट द लाइव, डोंट वरी, और यू कैन जस्ट डाउनलोड इट, है ना? समझा करिए, और इट बिकम्स ऑड फॉर अदर्स, मैन. कम ऑन, थिंक अबाउट इट, राइट? So as I was trying to tell you here, what else I had in mind? A couple of other things probably. एक चीज और जो, I would like to remind you guys right at the start. I would expect you guys, because what I have realized is a lot of students tell me that, okay, they understand things, they study things, and they have made notes, etc. But now, when the exams start approaching, then they are in a fix. They start thinking that, I'm forgetting details and I'm not getting time to revise, etc. right? That is something which I get a constant complaint from the kids, that they're not getting time, because when you're revising, when you sit down to revise, you realize that this is entire mountains, right? How can I do it? But you can actually do one thing. You can, you can do continuous revision. Maybe every week, a day or few hours, you can simply allot on revision. And you can revise whatever you have studied throughout, in the past week or couple of weeks, depending upon how efficient you are getting into this revision thing. Because as you revise it repeatedly, your speed will really increase. Right? So a continuous revision is something which can help, Dhyan, I really don't know when the classes will start. I think the administration will help you there. Mind maps help. Definitely they help. Bharti, if you intend to join this class, then I would ask you not to worry about anything, actually. I will take care of all these things, right? I'll take care of all these, NCRT and all, because NCRT is the broad outline which everybody follows. So I'll follow that, right? One second. Please, answer writing is something which I want to stress again, right? Start getting used to heat. सर्दियों में तुम लोग के एग्जाम जो होते हैं प्रीलिम्स, वो गर्मियों में होते हैं, right? It's not possible that you will get an air conditioned room. So kindly start replicating near exam situation. If your exam time is morning 9 o'clock shift, then you should be fit and ready every day at 9, ready to sit for 3 hours or 2 hours at one place, irrespective whether wahan pe light aa rahi hai ki nahi aa rahi hai, because you cannot guarantee these extraneous factors. So be careful here. Be careful here. These are just so you should have at least this much of instructions which I intend to give you, right? If you intend to join it, then you should have a pen, a notebook ready with you, and you should be making continuous notes, focusing on writing. I would be sharing. My name is Anant Tripathi. मैं पैदा एक इंसान हुआ था. I was born a human being, and then I was given the name Tripathi. Or my wife is a Muslim. And we have a son, any religion, because we believe that he can decide on his own religion when he goes up to like 18 or something. I would be very happy if he chooses to just be whatever he wants. You do not really need to put any labels of Hindu or a Muslim or any stupid religion, I believe. These are externalities. Religion is inside you. It is a belief. The moment you talk about religion, you're talking about a structure which is outside. So I really do not believe into that aspect. That somewhere, I believe it gives me a very objective viewpoint. Of course, I have my own prejudices, a lot of them. I have my own prejudices. I'm not denying it. And I'm sure as we go on, spending some time together, a lot of these prejudices will come in front of you. If you find these prejudices, I would request you to highlight. I would try and undo the damage if possible for me, man. If possible for me. right? If you see that I'm getting any information wrong, if you see that I have some problem on a particular topic, that my understanding is lacking somewhere, I would encourage you to please share what you think is the correct opinion. Give me a proper source, and I would love to look at it and discuss these things with you. This is precisely what education is. This is precisely why we are all sitting here in spite of this stupid COVID and whatnot. Right? My name is Anant Tripathi, as I was telling you, and my हाँ बस सही जा रहे हो. My email ID, I will give you my email ID. I will type it here, right? And from my side, the session is now probably over, unless you guys have any question, unless you guys want to talk about something. Uh, I think this is what I want to talk about now. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, there are offline classes scheduled to begin. I'm not too sure when. अब वो तो बहुत सारे हैं, but yeah, I think they are planning to start off as well. ऑप्शनल में हिस्ट्री का क्या एडवांटेज है? ऑप्शनल में हिस्ट्री का बेटा एडवांटेज ये है, बिकॉज any which way you're required to know a lot of portion of the syllabus. UPSC expects you to know. So whatever you're studying in optional will also be used across all these papers. So that's one very direct advantage which you will get. Thank you so much, Pushpalata. I also, would love to see you guys in person. And then, I don't know, probably once we start a batch, I would encourage you guys to also, switch on your mics and videos and ask direct questions. Remember, beta class has to be two-way. है ना बच्चा? तो वो ध्यान रखेंगे हम लोग. I would request you guys to participate as much as possible. Right? Thanks, Bharti. nahi bete aati, I do not have, I'm not on any social media. I'm so sorry. Telegram में मैं नहीं. In fact, मैं तुम लोग अपना phone दिखाऊं. Don't laugh. Or you can. I don't mind. This is my phone, man. So yeah, nice, talking to you people, and I'll see you guys, whenever time comes. Anything else? Or shall I just log off now? Glad it worked, man. Glad it worked. Right? If you have any other problems, you can, just mail me. I would love to be in touch. Even if you do not join this program, it really doesn't matter. Right? We can still stay in touch. Okay? Bye. See you guys. Have fun. Good night.